Hey guys, Mr. Wemp here. We're going to be talking about multi-view sketches now. So we've talked about some other different types of sketches, and with multi-view sketches, we need to be looking at more of a technical type of drawing. So when we deal with multi-view sketches, we know that these are used in creating different views of the drawing. So in different views of the object, actually. So okay, and what that means is that we will have a top, a front, and a side view of our object. So what does that top, front, and side look like? Well, let me drag this guy down a little bit, and lost a little part of it. That's okay. When we look at the top, front, and side, we know that this here, right in this direction, this is the front. Okay, and if we were to turn this block around and look straight at it, all we would see is this kind of L shape right here. We also know that if we look at it from this direction, that this is the side. Okay, so the front is here, the side is there, and then we also know that the top is looking down this way. And this is always the same view. So if we had this same object, if we had this same block but looking at it from a different perspective, looking at it maybe from this perspective, if we looked at it like this would still be the top, this would be the side, and this would be the front. Top goes down. I think I spelled top. Top only has one P in it. Okay, so it would look like that, and the object rotated, but the part, or the top, front, and side did not. So top, front, and side stayed exactly where it belonged. So when we're looking at multi-view drawings, what we want to see is a two-dimensional. So these are 2D, so not 3D, in parentheses. We only want a two-dimensional view of the top, front, and side. And they also get laid out in a certain order. So the top is always in the top left of your area. The front is also always in the bottom left of your area. And this is the area referring to the paper or wherever you're drawing. Okay, and then the side is always in the bottom right of the front. So this would be the side view. And they always line up here on the left, and they always line up on the bottom. Okay, so that's important for us to keep those two deals, or these two facts organized. Now let's go ahead and draw up a multi-view version of this guy right here. I'm going to bring my screen down a little bit, and I'm going to leave this right here so we have it as a reference. This is isometric view, and that typically would go over here. So I'm going to draw a circle, and this would be our isometric would go in here, and all that is a representation. So when I start drawing something, I like to start with the front view, and the front view is the one that's going to have the most features, it's going to have the most measurements, things like that. So when I look here, I chose this as my front, so I know I'm going to use my grid lines as a reference. I know that the front of this object, we'll say that it's 4 units tall, it's 2 units across here, 2 units down, 2 units over, 2 units down, 4 units over. Okay, so there's my front view. So this is the front. Okay, so that takes care of this part. Now if I were to take this piece and look at it from the top, I would see, I'm going to leave 2 spaces here, I would see that my top is exactly, and I'm going to draw some construction lines here. Remember, construction lines are nice and light. I would see that my top is as wide as my front. Okay, so there's the basic shape, and these features all line up. And what's nice is that this feature right here happens to go across right there. So I have my construction line pointing to where that feature would be. So this is my top view. Now I would do the exact same thing on the side view. So I'm going to draw my construction lines over. I'm going to leave roughly the same amount of space here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw in my front view. Now what's cool is that this view, this represents the same as this, so I'm going to go over 2 spaces, and we're going to go over that in just a minute. Okay, so there's my front, or excuse me, my side. And then where this construction line is, I know that I have that feature right there. So this is a top, front, and side view of this guy right there. This is what it should look like. Now, there's a couple of things to note, is that each view will give me two measurements. It'll give me either a, so the top view will provide me with a depth and a width. So the top will give me a depth and a width. The front will provide me with a width and a height. And the side view will provide me with a depth and a height. So I have a depth and a height. So each view provides two of the three measurements that we need. And we get those from all of these. So when you're drawing these out, basically if you've got, let me make some more room here. If you've got a multi-view drawing that looks like this, I know that this guy right here is the same dimensions. They should be the same. I'm going to do this in a different color. Let's do this in red. I know that this line right here should be the same as that line, or measurement. This measurement right here, or that face, should be the same height as that one. And then this one right here correlate to each other as well. Okay, so we know that that happens. And the other thing that I see a lot of people make mistakes with is they don't leave the width the same, they don't leave the base the same. So again, we can get all these measurements from here. We get our multi-view drawings from our isometric drawing here. We keep it nice and organized, and then we label top, front, and side views so that we can figure out where things are. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. You have to be able to look at this block in a way that will make sense. So let's look at another one. Let's make one that's a little more complicated. Let's do, if we do an oblique view of, let's do like this guy right here. Okay, we're all familiar with this block right here. So this is an oblique view because I can see the front views. It's a little faster to draw in on here. So we're going to do this guy in a multi-view. So the top is up here. The top's a little bit confusing, so I don't really want to deal with the top right now. I want to look at the front. Okay, the front will be in the bottom left, and then the side is over here. So let's draw this out. Let's look at the front. Well, the first thing I'm going to see is this little box here. So I've got that little guy right there, so that's done. And then I'm also going to see this kind of Z shape. I'm not going to see any of this depth, but I am going to see that Z shape. So I know that it goes up over, comes down the same height here, comes over, and drops down. Okay, so here's my front view. Then I'm going to come in with my construction lines, and I'm going to draw these out. I notice I'm going lighter. My line's a little bit wavy, but that'll be all right. And then this is another construction line. Okay, so I've got my construction lines. These are all my feature lines and everything that's going to tell me about my part here. So then I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw the top. Now the top view, I see that I have this bit here that I can see, and then I also got this little piece sticking out. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this guy in right there. That's this, the top view of that. So there's that bit. So we've got that also. And then I've got this like other piece that comes off. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. And I know that it comes out to about the same area as here. So it comes out to that length, comes across like this. Okay, so this is a pretty basic shape. And then where this edge is, goes right there. Okay, so there's my top. Now I'm going to label it. I'm going to draw that top view, and I'm good. Okay, so everything is in how I need to be. Now notice I'm not shading either. You don't need any shading. Okay, so that's there and that's there. Now I've got to rotate this thing and look at it from this direction. So I'm going to rotate over here. I know that it's this wide, so I have some more construction lines. Let's see, let's go in with our gray. And I'm going to kind of draw a little angled line there. Wherever that meets up there, there, and there. These are where these are going to drop down. So if I drop this down, and that down, this gives me my kind of shape here. And I know that I've got this little block that pokes out, and it's this tall. So I know that I'm going to have kind of a little block here, right? It's poking out. And then I know that I've got this height here that I have to deal with that's coming up. And then the thickness for this is going to be the same thickness as that. And notice that my lines, they kind of correlate. And if your lines are straighter on grid paper, it works a little better. And so I'm going to connect those together. And I've got this ledge right there that goes across. So my side view would look like that. Okay, so there's this guy here. This is my side view. Let's do it in blue. The side view is there. My front view is there. And my top view is there. Okay, so that's a little bit more of a complicated part. The thing that you want to remember is that you're only looking at it two-dimensionally. There is no depth. There's no thickness. You get that from these other measurements. So this is my height. This is my width. And this is my depth here. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out a little bit with multi-view drawings. And that should get us all sorted out with multi-view sketches. Feel free to ask any questions if you need it. We'll see you next time.